Alright, so it's Friday again, which means it's time for my weekly vlog here about depression and medication and all that. This week I actually had to go to the doctor in order to work on my dosage because the pills the pill I was taking wasn't working anymore. But it had worked obviously in the first couple weeks. So they increased my dosage. Now I'm taking 2 of these. So we're going to this week the thing I've been thinking most about when it comes to depression has been the masks that we wear, which I know is the title to the book from The Mask that Ben Stein's character had written. But it's also very true. My experience has been that in order to avoid a lot of questions, undue worry, and everything else, I would have to put on masks in order to interact with people. And this made things very difficult for me. It was exhausting to be around other people, because I had to be a certain person around everybody. And it's not like I was hiding who I was. It was the fact that I was hiding how I felt. So I was still who I was, but I wasn't allowing myself to really feel the emotions I had at that point in time. And it sucks because, you're around some people that expect you to act a certain way, so you act that way. You put on your happy face or your contemplative face or your snarky face or whatnot, and you interact the way you always do, or how they got used to you doing that, because you want to avoid the questions like, hey, what's wrong, or how you feeling, or whatnot, because you don't want to have to tell them again and again that, hey, I'm depressed. I feel like there's a big emptiness inside me that's just welling up out of my pores. And it was one of the reasons I told so many jokes to other people is, I said, if I can convince them to be happy, maybe somewhere or another it's going to rub off on me and I can convince me to be happy. And that bled over into everything I did. I still like comedy. I still like the aspects of it and everything. I'm going to write more books that all have comedy to them, humor aspects, but for now I have to find that part of myself again so I can actually write that, so I can actually feel that. And that's been probably the most difficult thing, is the fact that, at some point I lost the ability to just put on these masks over and over again. And, it cost me a few friends because I couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't just put on a mask and pretend to be happy, or pretend not to be offended, or pretend that things didn't bother me as much as they did. And, people in my life either didn't understand that, or, I just avoided others. It was too much work for me to be around people. So because of that, on this road of recovery here, I am actually alone, really, with a lot of what I do. Because, when it's hard for you to be around people, you stop being around people, and then eventually people stop trying to be around you. And, that's the reason I'm doing this, is for myself mostly. As a way to understand everything. It does help me to talk about it, but, I feel I get as much out of this as I do from talking to a psychiatrist who says the exact same thing back to me. Because I've tried that a few times now. but because of my isolation and everything, I've actually been looking into doing some meetups, you know, depression support groups, something to get me back out there, but with a group of people that are going to understand why I'm more reserved, why I don't share everything right away, and maybe why, you know, I'll miss like a couple meetings or meetups or whatnot. My wife thinks it's a great idea that I'm thinking about this, and is willing to watch my daughter while our daughter, I should say, is she's willing to watch her while I try these, because she knows it's important for me at this point. And you know, I think that's. I'm sorry, my brain is sometimes scattered, but I think that these masks that you're forced to wear in depression are one of the reasons why this disease eventually claimed so many people. You know, the sad clown, you know, style of things. I mean, and the fact is, I mean, it's not like, you know, we're useless members that we're just sitting around, you know, dealing with depression but faking a smile for everybody else. It's the fact that, you know, I have found more that depressed people have a tendency to try to help others because it's in their nature to try to make sure nobody else is suffering as much as they do. I mean, I've counseled people through their first year of marriage, infidelity, children, you know, the works. And, you know, I offered so much of myself to everybody else, but still had nothing. And I'd put on that mask like it didn't bother me. You know, like I didn't feel used and abused by everybody because I gave so freely of myself. I didn't ask for anything in return, but when push came to shove, I was still alone. I was still misunderstood. And I mean, it's why I'm very lucky that I found my wife. In fact, you know, I have to admit that there's some divine providence or fate or whatnot that led me to her at just the right time and just the right place. Because I mean, struggling with my depression, I was ready to end it all. I was ready to kill myself, and something stopped me and, you know, gave me signs that I was supposed to go a specific way and follow a specific path, and I did. And when I followed that path to the end, I found nothing, and I was depressed again. I folded 1,000 origami cranes trying to find love, and I finished those, and by the end of that year, I had met my wife, and we'd been married. My daughter was conceived shortly after marriage, a couple months, and then she was born last year. We're almost at her first birthday, and I know as she gets older, I want to be able to be there for her entirely and not just be a mask of a good father while hiding in my room crying over something or another, or, you know, so depressed that I can't do anything for her or be there for her. So I mean, this is pretty much a way for me to take a mask off and say, you know, this is who I am, this is how I feel, and, you know, as as I move on and on with my medication, I'm hoping to be more me and less depressed. So, um, yeah, I think I've run out of what I wanted to say. Masks, you know. Got so tired of wearing mine that well, it's good to actually be able to talk all this stuff out in a manner that makes me feel like I'm not a crazy cat lady talking to my animals, because I do have a few of them that I talk to, but it's not quite the same. Anyway, it's early on Friday, and so this will probably actually be up on Friday for once. If once again, I'm going to point out to anybody that's watching this that has depression or anything like that, if you need help, you know, don't be afraid to ask for it. It's actually strength to do so, because asking for help is actually a strong thing, because it's a strength of character to say, you know, hey, I need help. I can't do this all by myself. You know, because it's in the height of arrogance that we think we can handle everything ourselves and that we can do everything for ourselves that needs to be done. You know, sometimes we need help, and it's not a weakness to admit that. It's a strength. It's a strength of character. But yeah, if you're suffering from depression, if you're considering getting help or considering, you know, options that you shouldn't, do me a favor and just send me a message if you need help and want to talk about anything, because I'll be here for you, because I know what it's like. Alright, normally I don't do this, but she came over here anyway, so this is Lucy, female Solomon Island Collectus. She wanted to be part of this. So, it's Friday, and we'll see you next week.